today's agenda is going to be your what is Microsoft Azure, first of all. Second, what will be the certification part? What are the certification that are available in the Azure? So there could be something like we can go bit, specialty things as is also there. Like uh, if you have heard about, there is the Power BI data analyst associate. So if someone is working with that, so you can do those kind of the certificates as well. So what is kind of your certification part that is there? Then how to start with the Azure? Then we'll be talking some of the fundamentals about the cloud, and then we will be talking about some of the services provided by the Azure itself. So these are the things that we are going to talk about today's, right? So first of all, we will be starting with the what is Microsoft Azure. That is going to be the first topic. And to understand the Microsoft Azure, we need to understand your cloud services, right? That what is a cloud services, because I think mostly if you guys are joining here, you will be familiar that what is a Microsoft Azure, and you will be also familiar that Microsoft Azure is nothing but you're one of the services, okay, cloud-based service provider which provides us the cloud-based services. So main question here is, before we start, what is the Microsoft Azure, what is your cloud? Okay, and you will get to know that what kind of things we talk about. So you will get to know that we talk about the things like uh, not only the security but what is cloud, and in basic courses we discuss that how these things are helpful, how the cloud infrastructure is helpful, plus what security challenges we face in the your cloud infrastructure as well. Now, first of all, what is cloud computing service? So when we talk about the cloud computing service, I always give one example, which you can say, you can easily relate it with the something. I always relate it with the Netflix and all. So when I'm talking about the cloud service, in the very layman term, what I always discuss is cloud computing is just like your on-demand, movie services. So if you remember, we have used to have that feature. I remember from my DTH service provider that uh, you know we have to just call the our DTS service provider, or there were the option through the apps that I want to see this movie, right? And they will be charging us for that, and we can see that movie. Simple. So similar to that, in this whole scenario, in this cloud computing scenario as well, what is going to happen is that when we are talking about the okay, yeah. So when we are talking about the cloud computing, it is the on-demand delivery of different IT resources over the internet, enabling faster innovation, flexible resources, and economic of scale. Means in simple term, it is your on-demand IT service. So in if you have to understand this, let's say that just like the we have the Microsoft Azure, that is a cloud service provider. So what we are demanding from the Microsoft Azure, okay, give me this compute resource, or give me this networking resource, or a storage resource, or any analytics service. So let's say that I'm asking Azure that, okay, I want to create a virtual machine which will be running on the Linux OS. It should be having 8 gigs of RAM. It should be having your, two network interface cards. It should be having the, private IP, public IP. It should be part of, one of the virtual network. This is something that I can demand over here, right? And my cloud service provider will be giving me all these things. So what I am doing, this is on demand IT services that I'm asking for. Not only that, I can demand that, okay, I want to create a SQL storage. Let's say I want to create a SQL server. I want to store my data in there. I want to create my queries. I want to control the access to it and everything. So I can define what is my requirement, and that would be provided by the your cloud service provider, right? And similarly, you can have the different analytics services running as well on there. Not only analytics, there are n number of IT services that is available. So when you will be jumping into the Azure, learning about the services that is provided by Azure, so Azure is one of the cloud service platform which provide you the most services. With that, your Azure is available in the most regions. So your Azure's data center, they are available in the more geographic region. If we talk about the different situations, like we have the data centers in India, we have the data center in the Middle East, we have the data center in US, and US has the highest number of the data centers. Okay, then there will be in the Brazil, in your UK, we have the different scenario for the China, for the Germany, right? And even in the your US, we have the different solutions for the government as well. So how the hardwares are there and everything that is over there. So in simple terms, when we talk about the cloud computing, it is nothing but the on-demand IT services. Okay, so that is our cloud computing. Now, what is Microsoft Azure and where does it fit? So if you guys are familiar, bit of the naming, name change has been happening from a pretty long time. So Microsoft Azure was, previously around 2014. If you guys are familiar, it was known as the your Windows Azure, okay, which is a public cloud platform, and it is going to provide you a wide range of the cloud services. It is going to include analytics, storage, networking services, and we can choose what we want, okay, what kind of services we want, and based on that we can develop our solution, we can develop our applications, okay, we can run any existing application on the cloud infrastructure. So you know we will be understanding that how and what this cloud will be running in future. So how to start your career. So this is just the introduction first, that what is cloud computing, what is Microsoft Azure, and similar to Microsoft Azure, there are some of the your top cloud service providers. So we'll be talking about in 2021, you know uh, because 2022 just started. So the top 10 cloud service provider in the 2021 was your AWS, your Microsoft Azure, was your Google Cloud, your Alibaba Cloud, IBM Cloud, Oracle, Salesforce, SAP, Rackspace Cloud, and VMware, right? So just like the Azure, there are other players as well in the cloud service market. Okay, and I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about the AWS because it is one of the oldest, well developed, okay, because they are in the market for a pretty long time. So some of the services that is there is mostly people, if you have heard, they work with the AWS all the time. You'll be asking them which cloud service you prefer. So simple, one of the trusted name in the market is the AWS, and from the last 2 years Azure also has picked up the pace. So if you have to start your career in cloud, so right now two things are pretty hot in the market. That is, one is your Microsoft Azure, second is your AWS. So you can start with these two places to start your career. Okay, not only these two, if you have experience with the Alibaba, IBM, you're good. So if you have to start your career in the cloud, so what I would be suggesting, or what would be better way, at least you have the idea of the fundamentals of the cloud. Okay, so you need to have the idea regarding the fundamentals of the cloud, because to be honest with you, if you are you will be starting your career in the cloud and you will be sitting in an interview. So not only they are going to ask you the very specific technology, they will be asking you the question which will be the your general for all kind of the cloud services. They will be asking you that, okay, what is the your what is your public cloud, private cloud, what is your infrastructure as a service. So they will be asking you in these kind of the question in the interview, even if they are interviewing you from the point perspective of a beginner, right? They will be asking you. And do not think that if you are familiar, like you have done some of the associate level certificate, you have the bit of the experience, they are not going to ask you. So I have sit in the some of the interviews where even though you have a good experience, they can drop you they can drop a question on you like, okay, can you tell me what will be the multi-cloud solution and how we can handle the multi-cloud solutions, right? Or let's say that you have written that you have the expertise in the Azure, they could be asking you the question bit regarding the AWS as well. Okay, but it's good that if you have started with at least one cloud technology, you can use that knowledge to improve and get yourself a good chance in any interview. And you can just start with that. You can just start that, okay, I know that what are the basic concept, what kind of the services are provided by any cloud, like storage services. And in the storage services, there is going to be the different option with the everyone. The names will be different, but the concept of the database or the storage or the network, they are going to be same, almost same, right? So in the interview they could be asking you the different things, but you should have a proper basic knowledge about at least one of the technology, one of the cloud service provider. Okay, so because we are going to discuss the your how to start a career, so there could be the different scenario from where you can start asking these questions, that what should be the scenario. So there could be the very first scenario where where you are just simply saying that, okay, I'm just a beginner, I have no experience with the cloud, and how I am going to go ahead and you know get the job in this one, or how to start a career with this one. So always one thing that is going to be very helpful, that is going to be your basics and the fundamentals. Now, all the cloud resources provide you the service providers, they provide you the basic course, basic certification, right? So there could be a scenario, even you could be completely new to tech, right? Even you're completely new to IT. So they always give or create these basic courses in such a way that everyone should feel comfortable over here. Okay, so if you will be reading prerequisite for the fundamental courses, you will be finding they are pretty appropriate for the salesperson as well. But that salesperson needs to have some of the knowledge regarding the IT technology, right? Bit regarding the IT, like, okay, there are going to be the databases, there is network, there are security, devices, solutions, IDS, IPS. So at least with a pretty basic idea regarding the your Azure or any cloud or IT that person need to have, and it would be easy for anyone to start their career or launch their career in the cloud. Now, because we are talking about very specifically Microsoft Azure, let's just see a particular roadmap which I have created. Okay, and according to your experience, according to your need, you can move it. This is merely a suggestion. This is just a suggestion. Okay, it's not a hard and fast or mandatory kind of thing. This is a suggestion from my point perspective. Okay, I don't know what is your experience, how it is going to fit in there, but you can just take the idea that how these things can be helpful for you. Okay, so what Microsoft has done, first I will be just talking about a kind of a overview, then moving ahead I will let you know that what different certifications are there, okay, which will be helpful. So as I was saying, if you want to start your career, you are going to require fundamental knowledge. And you know, let's say that you and certification will be a kind of a proof that yes, you have that idea, these things, right? So first and very basic thing is going to be your Azure fundamentals. So that is going to be with your AZ 900. Okay, code for this is AZ 900. So in short, if you have seen people talking about AZ 900, AZ 900, what they means that they know the fundamentals, right? So if you have this kind of thing in your resume, the interviewer, the hiring team, they will be expecting that you have the clear idea regarding the fundamentals of Azure cloud here. So always this is the best place to start. that you can have your AZ900 in there. Okay, similar to this, there is going to be the AI 900, DP 900, which is in the territory of the artificial intelligence, which is in the territory of the your you know database, right? Data security kind of things. So you can always start with the AZ900, which will be the fundamental. So what this fundamental course will be talking about: what is cloud, okay, types of the cloud, and your most of the interview question are going to be from this. Then going bit deep, not deep, but just talking about the some of the services, like they will be talking about, okay, in fundamentals, that what services is provided by the Azure. Okay, like they provide the web application service, they provide compute service, they provide storage service, they provide network service. So you know what services, they are not talking in depth in here, but yes, what they will be doing, they have solutions for the IoT, they have solution for the DevOps, they have solution for the storages. Okay, so what solution they provide, even for the big data analysis, and many of you have heard about the things like the Power BI, right? So what kind of the different services is there with the your Azure 900, right? Azure fundamentals. Once you have this clear idea, this thing leads to the multiple path. To be honest with you, these things lead to the multiple path. Even you want to start with the architect, either you want to start with the your data science or data engineering, okay, database admins, developers, DevOps. This is something that would be the pretty crucial one, Azure fundamentals. So in every path you will be finding fundamentals is important. So right now I'll be just talking about bit of the architect point of view. Okay, not even, I'm not going to jump into the DevOps as well. So from here, if you have to follow the architect path, what you can do, you can just go ahead and you can, from this you can jump into this AZ104, which will be the administrator. So many of you is going to have the experience with the infrastructure, like how the backup should be configured, or how any VM should be deployed, the network, or what and how, what services is available in the network, how load balancer work, how to use the different um, benefits of the computer, it's sorry, benefit of the cloud itself, right? How to deploy web app, how to deploy containers, Kubernetes, all that is going to be the part of this 104 from the administration point of view. Even some of the IAM task you will be learning here, like creating the user, giving the roles to the user, the permission to the user, all that will be the part of this AZ104, right? So here at this particular point, if you have completed the AZ900 fundamentals is cleared, you want to go more in the architect part of the case, not only architect, if you'll be asking me pretty honestly, so if you are jumping into the security as well, this will be something that is recommended by me. Complete the fundamental, go to the, I'm writing it the recommended, this is the recommended by me. Okay, do the AZ104, it will be giving you the idea, because when you will be combining these two, you are already 50%, 40 to 50% prepare for the Azure security engineer. Okay, that's what I have seen, right? So you have completed this thing. So either you want to pursue, your role is like the architect or your security person. So this is the path that you can follow: AZ900, AZ104, which will be the administrator, and then your security. Okay, Azure security engineer, here we'll be talking more about the NSG, how to protect SQL database, talking about the your security operations. Okay, we'll be talking IAM a bit in depth in here, enabling the multi-factor authentications and all. Okay, how to use it, application registrations. We will be talking about the how to protect the storage account using the keys, different way of accessing the databases, different way of enabling the vulnerability assessments, all that kind of things, and some of the services like Microsoft Defender for cloud. So if you guys were familiar with the security center, name of the security center has now been changed to the Microsoft Defender for cloud. So if you want to use those kind of services, and if you want introduction to your Sentinel, Microsoft Sentinel, okay. So Sentinel is the SIM and the SOAR tool, SIM plus SOAR tool of the Microsoft. So bit of the introduction only you will be getting in the security engineer, how to use it, right? So all that part will be here. Okay, and it is also, if you will ask me, it is something that I'm going to recommend to you guys, that yes, this is here. And for the architect or the security path, if you want to follow, cloud architect or cloud security path, if these three you have, it's a good, not only good, a very good start in your career, right? So if someone just, okay, let's say that there is a person who just want to gain the knowledge. So again, I would be saying start with the fundamental, admin, and the security engineer. So these three will be giving you a good amount of knowledge that how things should be deployed, what services are there, how to do it, and all that kind of the idea. What services, how to deploy load balancer, work with the web application firewall, deploy firewall, work with the routing tables, create your own routes. Very good and clear path will be intermediate level of the knowledge you can get with these easy 900, 104, and the 500. 900 is very fundamental course, very basic. 104 and 500, these are going to be your intermediate one. Okay, these are the intermediate level of the courses that you can do if you are following the architect. You want to create a job role for you, which where you'll be working with the security or the architecture, right? And let's say then, once you're comfortable with this, you already have a good amount of experience behind you, right, in the IT, at least 7 5 7 years, and you want to go for some expert level role, right? You want to be an expert in the your cloud, right? So you should be familiar with the few things, like how the architecture should be, how the deployment should be, which services you can deploy, which will be the better suit for the suitable for the organization. Understanding any organization needs, then according to them, do you want to give them any suggestion that what they need to do, how their firewall should be, how their network architecture should look like, okay, in the cloud. Okay, very specifically I'm talking about the cloud, how you can use the hybrid services, how to enable the backup, what should be the frequency of it, okay, and where should be your data centers and all that kind of thing. Now you want to go bit expert level over here. So for the expert level, we are having the Azure Solution Architect. Now to get this certificate or this badge, you need to clear two exams. One is AZ303, one is AZ304, both, right? Once you complete these two, you will be getting the Azure Solution Architect here, badge over here that you are certified. But guys, let me remind you, Microsoft is, keep changing the bit of the case scenarios in here, right? With time. Now after 31st March, remember this, after 31st March 2022, this path will be changed. These two exam will be expired. Okay, because we are, today is just the 3rd of March. So still it is valid, 303 and 304. But after 31st March, what is going to happen is that now to become your Azure Solution Architect, there is going to be, you need to, mandatory will be 104. You need to clear the AZ 104. With that, you need to clear the your in place of these two, there will be now only a single one, which will be AZ 305, right? And when you will be completing this one, these two, then automatically you will be assigned a role or certificate of Azure Solution Architect. So after 31st of March, this is a bit of a change that is proposed by the Microsoft, right? So if you want yourself, you have the good experience working with the infrastructure, and you just want to create your profile more specific to the your architect or the security person, so you can follow this path. Okay, that's my personal recommendation. And yes, for the architect level, I would be saying at least do this AZ 900 104 and the solution architect, right? Even though if you want to skip the security part, but security is always a plus, so I am always going to recommend the security part. Okay, and if let's just say that you are working in an organization, best chances, when best chances arrived, best chances arrive when in your own organization already some of the guys are working with the cloud solution. Okay, and if you know that in your organization, is there if there is any cloud that people are working, either AWS, GCP, or your Azure. Okay, so my personal recommendation would be try to get or try to do some certification where in your own organization right now you can switch to that particular team. You have to just prove your skills. So if even I'm right now just jumping into the Azure, but if your organization is working with the AWS dominantly, you should be starting with that. That's my personal recommendation. If you want to do that, that's good. But if you want to because I will keep talking in terms of the Azure here. So this is the one simple path that is that is lying in front of you, that if you have to work with it. Now let's say that that in your organization someone is very good, or someone wants to work with the DevOps part, right? Or so what you can always suggest, the development is pretty particular dominant area in the infrastructure in your organization. So there is going to be the AZ204 certificate as well, which will be intermediate level. So you can try to complete this one as well. Okay, this AZ200 that is written here, it means you need to complete that AZ204 certificate. Okay, so once you will be completing this Azure developer, you will be getting a badge of the Azure developer certificate. It will be just improving your path over here, right? That if you want to start with that. But let's just say that you want to complete a developer path, right? So first thing that you need to do always is complete the fundamental for any course, like I was saying. And after 900 you can complete the 200. So 204. So personally, if you'll ask me, if you can do both 104 and 204, that would be great in the DevOps part, right? Then security, and rather than jumping for the solution architect, you can do the AZ400, which is DevOps engineer. It is again an expert level certificate that is there. So if you want to follow a path of the DevOps, so this 204 is going to be quite helpful for you guys, right? So if your organization is working with that, so AZ204 can give you the good start over here, that what you need to do. Okay, now this is the whole path, talking about the Azure. I'll be talking more certificate. These are the not only options, but this is just kind of a roadmap that I want to create for you, right? So if you are using or working with the some security solution like O365 Defender, Microsoft Defender for endpoint, you have the your Sentinel, you want to work with these kind of the things, the security part. So for that, we have this SC900. So at least do this one, you should be having an idea of 900. Complete the security series 900. Then you can complete different security series are there, like security operation analyst. So I have completed these two already. I was planning to give this one as well because I have completed the theory part of it, but I haven't taken the exam yet for the 300 and 400. And if you want to work with the bit of the information protection as well, so you can work with the both, right? So some this is, and these courses are launched last year, and very few people are aware about this. So if you are working with the Microsoft's EDR solutions, right? If you are working, you are having experience in the security from the last 5 to 7 years, and you want to just show them that the cloud-based security or Microsoft solutions I'm expert with, this will be the better place, SC series, SC 900. And if you want to work with the defenders and also, SC 900, 200 would be a good place to start. So it is just kind of a roadmap, which is my suggestion to you, right? But you should be aware about all the certificates. So I'm just going to talk about some of the certificates in here. Okay, so for the fundamental level, so Azure fundamental, if you just want to be, with the Azure fundamentals, learn about the Azure fundamentals, we have the AZ 900. Now, you want to learn about the data, data fundamentals, we have the DP 900. And for the artificial intelligence, if you you want to deploy some artificial intelligence service, we have the AI 900 certification as well in the Microsoft Azure. Then on the associate level, we are having the AZ 104. Okay, a heap of the list, I know, quite boring, right? But we will be moving then into the bit of the fundamental after this, and I'll be discussing some of the suggestion from my end, and then we'll be jumping into the fundamentals, seeing things bit more practically, that how Azure Cloud it look like, how portal it look like, all those kind of things. Okay, so on the associate level, we have the AZ 104 and 204, which we have already talked about, admin, administrator associate and developer associate. Then, if you have to deal with the database specifically, we'll be talking about the Azure Database Administrator Associate. And security, we have the Security Engineer, AZ500. So mostly in the market, demand is right now 900, 104, 500. Then, you know, on the expert level, where organization require the solution architect. So that will be the next slide. We'll be seeing that. And in the associate level, then there come some of the new things that is there, that is going to be one, your AZ 700, which is Azure Network Engineering Associate. How to handle the network, how to make the communication between the different networks, how to connect with your on-prem and all that kind of things. Then there is the Azure Stack Hub Operator Associate. And even if you want to work with the Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate, so how the hybrid environment will be working. So these are the some of the new places where you can look if you want to learn more about the hybrid administration task, how it will be happening. So this is something that has been introduced right now. And for the data scientists, what are the data solutions that is provided by Microsoft? You can learn this data scientist DP100. And for the data engineer associate, DP203 is there. And for the artificial intelligence, there is AI 102. So how this will be following in the path. So bit about the AI and all we'll be talking about as well. Let's just first see the certificates. You can see a heap of certificates are there. And now, as I was saying, that there is going to be this AZ305. It will be available from in the public use from the 31st March of the 2022. Right, it will be available from the 2022 of 31st March of 2022. And in the DevOps, again we have the 400. So already for the DevOps I have led a path in front of you. So if you are interested in this, you can follow this one. Then some of the very specialty related certificates are there. Like if you are working with the SAP workloads in your organization, okay, so you can go with the courses like the AZ 120, how to handle the SAP workload with the Azure. So this is a very specific specialty base. So this will be having a one single dimension thought process over here, that how SAP is compatible with the Azure, how to send the data, exchange data. So all that will be over here. And if your organization is working with the IoT devices, so how to use the IoT hub, how to send the data in, how to send the data out, all that will be the part of the your easy 220, right? Okay, so yes, Fatima, I can repeat it. So if your organization is working with the SAP and you want the SAP to communicate with your Azure infrastructure, right? So you are having the SAP, you want it to be on the Azure, how to communicate with the Azure, how to work with the Azure. So for that very specifically, we can have this Microsoft certified, which is Azure for SAP workload specialty. If you want to learn that, there will be this 120. Same, if your organization is working very specifically for the IoT, so how to develop IoT solution in the Azure, that is going to be your AZ2201. Now, similarly, you want to set up the, let's say that your organization is providing all of the employee the virtual desktop, and you want to deploy those virtual desktop on the Azure. So how to deploy it, how to make it secure, okay, you are going to provide everyone the connection, how it will be working, handling, how to do the bit of troubleshooting regarding the Azure virtual desktop. So for that one, we have this AZ140 course over here. Okay, and then if you want to use the Cosmos DB for developing your solutions, okay, so you have some Cosmos DB generally we use where we lot of real time changes in the database we are making, like online gaming and all, right? So in those kind of the places we will be using we can use the one service which is Cosmos DB. So how to develop Cosmos database and how to work with it, so for that very specific function we have this DP 420. And it doesn't mean that you have to do the certificate and complete it unless your organization is asking for it, or you find a job requirement which is specifically asking for it, right? So if let's say that in your organization as an administrator you are finding it bit challenging how to work with the SAP, with the Azure, you will be having the AZ120, right? You can read it just for the knowledge purpose as well. Not always everything will be about the you're getting the certification done. Sometimes we just require the knowledge as well. So if you want to get that idea, this is going to be the good place. Start for the SAP, IoT, virtual desktop, work with these kind of things. So these are the some of the certifications that is going to be in there, right? And I know this is a heap of a certificate, and yes, easily you can find them over on the internet as well, that how to do it, what are the certificate required. So what I can suggest you, let's say some of you are working on the artificial intelligence. Hopefully, you guys will be, some of you are working in that particular part. Now, your organization is thinking to use the artificial intelligence services provided by the Microsoft and develop or use them. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is, okay, so you are just waiting for it. Okay. Now, my suggestion would be how you can start. So because you're working with the AI, so first you need to do is AZ900, the fundamental, right? So I'm talking about if you are working with the AI, right? And you want to establish yourself, your career with the Microsoft Azure, and you want to be expert in the how to handle artificial intelligence and develop the artificial intelligence solution for the your organization, right? Working with the Azure. So you can always start the AZ900. It will give you the idea what is Azure. Then you can go with the AI 900, which will be giving you the idea what is Azure's AI solution, what is their basics, how it work, right? That is something that we can say is the your needed part. Then we have the artificial intelligence 102, okay, which is AI engineer associate. Now in this one you will be learning the solution, how they work, how you can integrate with your own services and all that kind of thing, right? And once this will be done, and then for getting better understanding, always you can end with the 104. This is just the recommendation, not necessary, but once you will be having this idea as well, you will be having a whole kind of the environment where you understand Azure properly, you understand the artificial intelligence solution, how to integrate with the Azure part as well. So this is something that if you are in the artificial intelligence, you can follow this particular path, right? So similarly for the database admins, okay, if you are working with the databases, DB admin. So what you can do if you are someone who has the experience with the databases and now you want to prove that yes, I'm good with the Azure solution as well, and I can work with this one. I can develop the database solution here. So what you can do is, for the database, you can start with the AZ900. Then you can say, okay, I know that how the fundamentals they work. Now let's just complete the DP 900. It will give you the idea of what Microsoft has in store to go and complete this your whole solution, right? So now they will be having the idea that yes, how Azure database solutions they work, how to work with them, and all that kind of things. Now next thing would be your okay, DP900. After the DP900, we have, okay, what you can do if you want more in depth, that how these things work in the Azure, right? How the different networking work, how the idea Active Directory work, bit introduction, how networks work, these kind of things, because it will be helpful moving ahead and learning your DP300 one, right? Which will be the database admin associate, right? So this is something that you can do. And this is, guys, my suggestion. Many candidate, they feel pretty confident that they directly jump into the DP300 because they have experience of working with the cloud. They just try to read the for some of the fundamentals of the AZ900, what is the terminology in the AZ900, and then jump into the DP900. Oh, sorry, DP300 directly, right? So this is my path, which is my recommendation. So if you want to skip anything, I am not going to going to stop you. This is just kind of the my understanding that it is going to be the better if you follow this path. Okay, right? So this is the one thing. Now, oh, similar to that, there is going to be the DevOps, which, as I have talked about, security architect already. I have talked about, if you are from the developer background, I have already given you the sum of the path. So you can use these kind of the things, and there were a lot of the certificate regarding the data science specific speciality. So those things are always going to be the helpful one moving ahead your career, right? So my recommendation is, if you are someone, how to start with the Azure, if you are someone who is serious about making your career in the Azure, you have to start with the AZ 900. And even though you are someone who have just started your career, or you're a fresher kind of the person, so if you are fresher, right, you do have no experience, so these two are enough to get you started. When you will be talking about these two things, the person will know that yes, you have the knowledge about the Azure, and you can handle a small task of the admin and the load balancer over there. That this is good. Even when you have a good experience, you already have the idea into the working with the infrastructure. This too will be always a good place to start with, right? And to fortify these things, 500 is always a good addition. And with the, if you have a very good experience, so expert level is a best one. Okay, I'm just summing up whole thing over here. you know the paths. Expert level means go for that 305. Okay, combining this 104 and 305, you will become solution architect. And average salary, if you'll be looking for the solution expert, it is pretty high in the market. So that will be always a positive in the whole scenario, in the whole, starting your career with the Azure cloud or any clouds. Now, as we are talking about lot of the cloud, what is cloud? So many of you will be sitting here and wanting to learn about the fundamentals of the cloud. So for next 30 to 40 minutes, let's just talk about the some of the fundamentals, right? So this is just about the starting of your career. What is the available options in there in the market? Even not, if you don't want to complete this certification, you just want to read this, up to you, right? You just want to learn these concepts, that's just up to you. Okay, now in this one, we will be talking now. Let's see that first few fundamentals. If I can clear it, those concepts for you. Okay. So we'll be talking about the cloud fundamentals. Already we have talked about what is a cloud. Okay. And how Azure fits into that, and what are the competition of the your Azure itself. Now we will be talking about the your different cloud models. Okay. Now when we will be talking about the different cloud models, so many of you who have experience with the infrastructure, you'll be familiar. There are three kind of the things. There is your public cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. Okay. So what is public cloud? Public cloud is just like your AWS, your Azure, these things, where as a Rishabh Kotial, I can go and I can create my account and start using their service. I have to pay for it, just like I was talking about that. Cloud is the on-demand service. So even if I have the Netflix account, right? And in that Netflix account, what I have to do, I need full screen in the phone, in my 4K TV, right? So I have to pay Netflix a price, and it will be giving me that same solution. Similarly, with the your any cloud services, public cloud services, you will be going ahead purchasing a subscription, and you can start using the service. If you want to go ahead, deploy a VM, deploy a VM in it. So it will be charging you for that, right? So that is the public cloud. Even I, as a Rishabh Kotial, can go and create an account, right? Then similarly, any other organization, means let's say, for example, talk about KPMG, Deloitte, EY, right? PwC, these companies, what they want, they also want to create their account on the AWS or Azure. They can do that as well. They are free to do. So that is the public cloud, where anyone can go create an account and use these services. Then there will be the private cloud, right? So an organization, they created their own data center, and access to this cloud and this cloud solution is only limited to those organizations, uh, people, or maybe they are sharing it with the their third party or their vendor. That is just up to them, right? That would be a private cloud. Then there is the hybrid cloud. So hybrid cloud is kind of using best of both world. So in the private cloud, you have the more control. Okay, if you have to follow some compliances, okay, some security measure that you want to apply, you want more control. So in private cloud, you have more control. While in public cloud, it has its own advantage. It is cheap, less of the headache, and give you the things like scalability, your elasticity, global reach. So these kind of the benefit, if you want to deal with, and you also want to deal with some of the compliances and risk as well, so you can use best of both worlds. You can have your on-prem as well, a private cloud and public cloud both, and using the best of the both world. So that is just up to you. Okay, so here, in short, I have given you the idea regarding these. So let's just see few points regarding these cloud. So public cloud, owned by and managed by third party cloud service provider, like I was talking, AWS, Azure. Now it provide IT resource and service to multiple organization and general public. You can access it through a public network, and it is perfect for the organization with growing and fluctuating demand. And I always suggest that this is better if you are just a startup, right? So rather than creating your own data center, it would be better that you use the public clouds. Then in private cloud, this cloud environment is going to be on the on-site data center or hosted on the third party service provider. Okay. Now, when we are talking about this, third party service provider, or we are talking about, giving the example of that KPMG. So here you have to purchase the hardwares, go there, install the system, create the network, give everyone the access. So you will be requiring bit of the money as well, right? And then organization, as an organization, you will be responsible for operating and maintaining all the services that you are providing. And you are not going to provide access to the user who is outside your organization. So these are the some of the limitations that is going to be in there, right, in the private cloud. And then in the hybrid cloud, it is going to combine the best of both world, on-prem and the your private and the public itself. So this is something that are the your cloud models few points, and we can talk about some of the comparison between them. Like when we are talking about the your sorry public cloud, you require no capital expenditure. Means, what you are going to do, whatever you will be using, pay as you go, a term that is used very specifically here, that is pay as you go. So whatever you are using, I'm using the VM for 1 hour, I'm just paying for that. I'm running a VM for, let's say, 20 hours, I'm just paying for that, nothing else. Okay, now with the help of this, if you have some dynamic infrastructure requirement, like you need to deploy some of the resources quickly, and then you have to deploy something, and then once task is done, you want to deprovision it. So this is something that you can easily do with the public cloud, right? And this is what I have already talked about, that you have to pay only what you are using. That's it. Okay, now in the private cloud, we are going to require some purchasing power with us. We need to have that money with us to deploy those kind of the resources, purchase those resources, maintain them, and all that kind of thing. Now quick provision and deprovisioning, scaling, it is bit of the issue with these things. Let's say that I have deployed 3 or 4 server with the physical server, and suddenly due to high use, all of them are completely I would say reach to their highest capability. Now I have to deploy another resource, so I need to purchase the fifth server, plug it in, okay, maintain it, test it quickly. So scaling up, down, these kind of the things, quick provision, deep provision can sometimes be a bit of a issue over there, right? But thing is, we will be having complete control over the resources and the security. I want to apply these resources, these security, these governance compliance rule, I can do that. Okay, and now as I was talking, as an organization, because this is my private cloud, I will be responsible for going ahead, maintaining it, updating it. That all will be my responsibility, right? So this is the something that we are talking about, or we are dealing with over here. Okay, then you know when we are talking about the flexible hybrid cloud is most flexible because it is using best of both world, as I was suggesting. Using best of both world, organization, they are going to determine which, let's say that you have some data, you want to store that data onto the your private cloud, for the compliance region, maybe governance compliance region. And then you have some web application, you require the global reach for that, or quick scale up scale down kind of thing. So you will be deploying it into the public cloud, right? Then there is going to be the organization control and security compliance or legal requirement. So as I was saying, you are controlling both the factors over here, using best of both world, right? And in the same scenario, let's just talk about that, what will be the advantages, why everyone is jumping towards the cloud. Because okay, I don't know how many of you were paying the attention in the starting of the 2020 when this pathetic pandemic just started. Okay, so when this pandemic started, I think since then up to this point, cloud has developed too much, because a lot of organization, they start kind of using the cloud because it is giving you the global reach. Employees are sitting at home, Okay, it is better to deploy solution on the cloud. Even Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has accepted it that they were not prepared for such kind of change instantly. They were thinking that around 2023, in 3 years from now, people will be ready for that. Okay, so they have to do those changes within 3 months of time, and that was, yes, quite challenging for them as well. That yes, they have to change everything. Now, some of the advantages of the cloud computing is, first, high availability, right? So okay, availability will be depending on few factors, and always they talk about the SLA, service level agreement, different cloud service provider, but they will try to give you the high availability of resources. Either it is your backups, databases, your VMs. So usually you will be seeing that, things are in the, availability SLA is around 99.9% for individual services. There are the option to improve it and how this will be impacted, right? So when you have an infrastructure, in infrastructure, a lot of different services will be working together. So these kind of things always decrease your availability. So how you can improve it and all, they will be mentioning it in their documentation. So if you will be going through the AZ900 course, same thing you will be learning over there, that what is SLA, what it meant, everything. Now, we were talking about these two things, scalability and elasticity, right? Scalability and the elasticity over here. When we are talking about this scalability and elasticity at this particular point, scalability is quickly, how quickly, let's say that I'm hosting a web server and suddenly traffic increased on this web server. And now I am facing that, okay, it can crash down at any moment. Lot of traffic it is there and it is consuming all its resources. I reached to the peak performance, you know, point for this one. So scalability is how quickly I can launch another web servers with the similar configuration, or how quickly I can increase if the RAM or the config of the same system. So that would be scaling, and there will be the scale up and a scale down kind of thing. And scalability is enabled or used by this elasticity. And this is my statement. Okay, elasticity is how quickly you are meeting those demands. Okay, those changing demands, how quickly you meet. So suddenly, it increased and I was having a system with having 8 gigs of RAM. I launch another one which is having the same 8 gigs of RAM and start distributing the traffic between them, right? So how quickly I can do it, and once the demand is gone, how quickly I can deprovision it, and only there will be one server. So how quickly I can do it, that would be the elasticity. Then some of the advantages of this is fault tolerant. Like if you have studied the cloud, you will be familiar that different solution is provided by Azure specifically, if I'm talking about, like the local redundant storage. Okay, zone redundant storage means making the copy of data onto the 3 data centers, or making the copy of the data on the 3 different physical server, just in case one is down, another is available for you. How they can tolerate the fault. Okay, okay, how agile they are, how quickly you can provision and deprovision any resource, any services. Global reach. Okay, so you will be familiar, these cloud service provider, they have the data centers all around the globe, in East US, West US, in your UK, North UK, South UK, India, Central India, South India, your North India, right? These kind of the locations are there. So they have the different data centers around the globe. So where you want to deploy your resources, that also you can decide. You have the global reach over there. With that, customer latency, because you have the global reach, you can decide where to deploy the services, what services to use, where to use, and you can handle the latency problems as well. With that, they have a good DR and backup services, right? So you can define your backup, disaster recovery. Okay, and how quickly, if you have defined the disaster recovery over there, you can quickly go and start recovering your solution if any disaster it happened, right? And one of the best benefit is there, okay, if I talk about security, it become kind of a shared responsibility first. So for some part, you will be responsible depending on the solution, what kind of the cloud service you are using. And for some part, your cloud service provider will be responsible. And best thing is it is predictive cost consideration. So there will be the calculator, cost calculator. Even there is a TCO calculator, total cost of ownership, where you can compare that if you will be having a solution, deploy the same resources on the on-prem and same resources on the cloud, how much you can save, what will be the cost and everything that will be there as well. So this is something that you can deal with as well, right? So these are some of the advantages of having a particular cloud. Okay, and one more thing which very dominantly discussed in the advantages, that is going to be the capex and the opex of the what is a opex, what is a capex. So when we were talking about the cloud services, these terms they always will be there. So capital expenditure will be the upfront spending of money on the physical infrastructure, right? So we have some physical infrastructure. If let's say that I want to, let's say for example, I will be picking any one of your name. Okay, sorry for that. So let's say for example, Jacob want to start, his own, I would say startup, right? His own startup. So let's say that it was requiring a few of the resources. So some web servers, some networking devices and everything. So one thing is to deploy that infrastructure, Jacob can go purchase things from the market, deploy them, then hire a team and then maintain it. Okay, so for doing this, Jacob is going to require some upfront cost. Okay, and this doing that you have invested the money, and this is simply a concept of economics, that I have purchased some of the solutions. So over the time period, it will, the cost of the value will be reducing over a period of time. And how much profit you are having, how much you are spending on the maintenance of those things, and how profitable these things are. So over the time, from the profit, cost of ownership will keep decreasing, and you will be determining how much profit you are and all that kind of thing, right? So this will be a bit of the scenario where you will be requiring money upfront, right? I need to have that hard cash with me to purchase these things. While with the operational expenditure is, I know that I am requiring 5 VMs. I require 10 storage account, 20 data disk. I require to enable some of the 5 backup account. Let's say that I want to do incremental backup over there, right? Or disaster recovery things. So I know these things. Now these 5 VMs on a day, I'm just running for 8 hours to 9 hours. So operational is for the time that I am running these machines or using these resources, I have to pay for only that, right? And optional bill will be showing to you. And if you have the subscription, you will be getting things like month every month bill over there. Then there are option of saving more money, like if you will be doing like contract with them, that 3 years or 5 years of contract, so they will be giving you the heavy discount like 70%, 60%, 50% of the discount, so you can save money over the time as well. So this is something that is what you are using, you are only paying for that, and this is always going to be the better solution if you are someone who just started with this solution. Okay, and when we are talking about the pay as you go model, so end user, they will be only paying for the resource that they are using. It gives you the better cost prediction, provide the prices for the individual resources and services that you are using. So you will know for which service I'm paying and how much I'm paying. You can get the cost management idea. After 1 month or 2 months, you can see, okay, what is the unnecessary, what is necessary, and based on that, I can made a more effective, cost effective model in there. Like not all the web server is required to run all the time. Some of them is required to run 4 or 5 hour or 1 or 2 hours, so I can do that. I can reduce the amount of data that is in the disaster recovery, create effective my policy for the disaster recovery backups, and it will be making sure that there is no wastage of the resources as well. So these are some of the best benefit of pay as you go model which you'll be finding in the cloud. Okay, now we have talked about the cloud, benefits of the cloud, advantages of the cloud. So there are the different cloud services as well that are out there. And this time, guys, I will be only talking about those cloud services which you will be finding in the your Azure. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the Azure based cloud services. Okay, but before we start with the cloud services, okay, based on the service model, when we talk about the cloud resources, right? So what are the cloud resources? If I'm creating a disk in the cloud, data disk, that is a cloud resource. I'm creating a network, that is a cloud resource. I'm creating a VM, that's a cloud resource. Storage account, cloud resource. SQL server, cloud resource, right? Now, based on these resources, how you are deploying any resource, how you are configuring your infrastructure. So there are different type of cloud services as well, and I'm pretty sure that you have heard about them. Like very first one is going to be your infrastructure as a service, right? IaaS, that you think. So rather than going with the very difficult definition, let me tell you about the IaaS in the layman terms, okay, layman terminology. So simply, when we are talking about the infrastructure as a service, in this particular part, we can start with the things like, okay, I'm just asking my cloud service provider, give me a virtual machine having the, oh, like I was saying, one virtual network, three subnets, two network interface card, two virtual CPU cores, uh, give me the 16 gigs of RAM, give me 1 terabyte of operating system disk, allow me to add 4 data disk afterward, right? So these kind of the things I want. I will be just saying that what is my requirement, and they will be providing me these services. Now, when I'm talking about this, this is the closest to your on-prem data services that you will be finding over here. So just like in your on-premise, you have to control everything. In the infrastructure as a service, what you have to do is you will be the one who will be responsible to updating the OS, maintaining it, patching it, how the networking will work, how the path will be there. So all of that will be up to you. What applications are going to be installed in there, maintain those application, updating those application, all that will be your responsibility, right? So this is going to be your infrastructure as a service over here. Then we have the platform as a service, Paas. So, let's say that now this time I'm thinking, okay, this is becoming a bit hectic that every time I have to go, I have to handle the updates and everything. I don't want to do that. I am a simple person. I just simply want to deploy a web application. I want to select that whether it will be running on the Linux or on the Windows, right? I want to select that thing. I want to select that it should be having the 1.75 GB of RAM or something. So I will be selecting that thing, but I don't want to handle the installation of the .NET in that, or installation of the web server services and how to do that. No, I don't want to do that. I simply want to write my code. I want to publish it over here, and that's it. So underlying operating systems updates, application update, that would be, let's say, cloud service providers responsibility. I don't want to do these things. I am a simple person. I just want to write my code, just be happy with that. So those kind of the services, like in Azure, we have the Azure web app services. So I'll be selecting my plan, that what kind of RAM required, okay, whether its underlying architecture should be the, for the OS, this should be Linux or Windows, and I'll be selecting like I want to run it on the .NET Core, I want to run it on the PHP, on the Ruby, where I will be telling these things to my service provider, and service provider will be taking care of all these things: underlying operating system, development tool, database management, analytics, everything. And I will be just publishing my code, handling few things like uh, updation of the versions, what different solutions are there, that kind of thing I will be doing over here, right? While updating of the operating system, underlying tools, and all that will be handled by the Azure. So in the Paas services itself, Azure also provide the Paas service for the SQL database, okay, where updation of the SQL database application and all will be the responsibility of the Azure. You will be updating, creating the rules here that who can access, network security rules and all those kind of things you will be developing in here. Who can access, create the database, develop the database, right? Those kind of things you can do here, right? But underlying thing will be handled by the Microsoft Azure. So these kind of services are called your PaaS services. Then there is the SaaS service. So SaaS, I think one of the best example that we are seeing in the our daily life is going to be the Office 365, okay, G Suite, or calendars that you have in your phone, simply the Google Drive or the Dropbox or the your what we have, that OneDrive. What are these? These are the example of the software as a service. Now I don't even developing my application. I'm just using the, someone else has developed these services, softwares, and I'm just using these services by them. That is going to be my software as a service. So these are the three services, predominantly these are the basic ones. So when you will be seeing this thing, this is going to be that, this particular one. Now, if you compare them, you will see Infra is the most flexible cloud service, because here I can decide what to do, what operating system, update it, application, what I want to install, all these kind of things. Now, configuring and managing the hardware for the application itself. User can configure whole thing, as I was telling you, and you can administrate, this thing as well. Now, in the past, we are focused on the application development. We are focused on the platform management, that is going to be the handled by the cloud service provider. I'm just focused on my application, and mostly the software developer will be using it, right? And software as a service, and server use it. You pay for the software on the basis of subscription. You go with the pay as you go kind of thing over SaaS services, right? And when I'm talking about this, I was talking about bit regarding the responsibility, right? That what will be the shared responsibility model. So here you can say, if you would have deployed solution on your on-premise, so green color is saying what you are going to manage, and red color is saying what cloud service provider will be managed. So in the private cloud, everything is controlled by you. Either it is storage, networking, compute, VM, operating system, runtime, application, data and access, all is handled by you. While when you jump onto the infrastructure as a service, which is pretty much close to the on-prem that you'll be finding in cloud, here storage, physical networking, computing solutions, those physical hardware, your hypervisor, how virtualization is happening, that is going to be handled by the cloud service provider. While you'll be handling your VMs, operating system updation, runtime environment, applications, and the data and access. While in the your past, this VM, operating system, and the runtime, they also become the headache of the cloud service provider. You are only handling application and the data access. And now in the SaaS, only you are handling the data and you are handling the access management. Rest, you have given that all that headache to the cloud service provider. The go ahead. This is your responsibility, right? Go ahead, do this thing. This will be something that you will be doing on this point, right? So These are the some of the shared responsibility models that is in there. Okay, so quickly I want to uh, give you the bit of the idea regarding the regions as well. Okay, that Azure is actually managing a lot of the regions over here, right? So they have increased more than the 60 plus region in the 140 countries. So they have, if you'll be looking into this map, their data center is all around the globe, like I was talking about. Okay, where it will be used, let's say that if you want to deploy a VM, it will be asking you in which region you want to deploy this VM. That is the kind of the thing that you should be aware, right? So actually, if you move ahead in there, there is lot of concept when you will be creating a resource. But what are the resources that is provided to you? So those are going to be your VMs, storage account, virtual network, different functions are there, SQL databases, app service. All these things are available in your Microsoft Azure. And yeah, bit of the idea also I'll be giving you, like when we are talking about the compute services. In the compute services, you will be finding there is going to be the virtual machines, right? App services. You can deploy container, Kubernetes, virtual desktops. You can deploy all these things. There is going to be the VMs, app services, container services, you know. So, although I'm not going to go that much in depth, okay, in here, but we have the Azure virtual machine, which will be just like your physical machine. We have the app services, right? We have the container services. We are going to have the different virtual network based services, like if you want to deploy the VPNs. So VPN come with the names like the virtual private network. You want to deploy some private network kind of thing, you will be having the express route. If you want to work with the simple network, there is going to be the service with the name VNet, right? For the storage account, there will be the blob storage, disk storage, your file storage. Just like we have the file share systems, similar to that we are going to have the Azure file. You can deploy disk. We can have blob storage, which means it is a object storage, where you can store your mp3 file, a video, okay, anything, any kind of file, text, PDF, you can store it here. So different kind of the storage services is there. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to give you the bit of the idea that where is the portal for the Azure. So when you have to access this portal, okay, we will be going on to this portal.azure.com. Now at this point, I'm just going to pause my screen and let me log in into my account. Okay, so I'll be using my MCT account. Okay, just give me a minute. I hope I remember my password. Oh, thankfully. Okay, once I will logged in, so I can see my whole scenarios in here. I can see. Hmm, right, so this is my default account, and in this part we can see. Okay, I have already some of the solutions running. This is how your Azure portal is going to look like. If you have to create some resources like VM web app, you have this option. And we have this portal menu as well. So if you want to see the different resources like load balancer, VM, your SQL database, function app services, different solutions are there. Okay. And I was talking about that there are services on the security paths as well. So security operation services like the Sentinel and all. So here you can see that this is one Sentinel that I have deployed. I think one of my sessions. We are having the very specific basic to intermediate course for the Microsoft Sentinel as well. So here you can see whole things, hopefully if there will be some of the alerts or anything, this is the sim tool by the your Azure. Okay, none of the event right now. So this is the one of the services that is provided by the Azure. If you have to create some services, a very simple, you want to create a VM, you have the options here. Create a resource based on the Windows Server 2019, Ubuntu server, web app, SQL database, right? You can search. This is the whole marketplace. Categories are there: AI base, analytics base, blockchain base, compute resources. So let's say that I want to deploy a VM. I can select this Windows Server 2019 and click on create. So from here, for example, let me select any of the, what is my subscription name, what is my resource group. You can create a new one, giving a VM name here. And here it doesn't mean that I cannot change the operating system. Let's say that suddenly I change my mind that no, I want to run with the Ubuntu and 18.04. Okay, I want to see the sizes. These are some of my uh, recommended based on my uses. But if I want to see all sizes, so there is going to be a whole family of the series, right? Based on your workload. So the workload which does not require full performance, we have B series. Okay, guys, I know I'm not deep diving in here. I'm just giving you the overview kind of thing, overview, an idea over here. E series, okay, fourth generation of the E family size with the high memory needs. Okay, designed to protect confidentiality, integrity of code and data in the general purpose workload. DC series, L series, and for the demos I use the B series. So let's say that what I want two virtual CPU, 4 gigs of RAM. I can attach 4 disk over here. Maximum input output per second is this, and temporary storage of the 8 gigs is there. Does it support your premium disk? What would be the cost per month? This is the cost per month, estimated cost. Okay, guys, let me select it. So I can change the size. Do you want administration account, use the SSH key, password, all these things? Then there are option of the disk. What kind of disk you want? Do you want encryption in that? Then there will be the option of networking. Do you want a, what kind of, which virtual network, in which virtual network you want to deploy it? Do you want a public IP? Do you want to create subnets? And if yes, how many subnets? Right. Then we will be talking about the management part. Okay, do you want to enable your monitoring, deploy some auto shutdowns, all these kind of things. Then talking about some advanced functions, VMs. Okay, how do you want to apply some extension, run some script on this VM in the background, and then simply tags and review and create, and you can create a resource. Like I'm pretty sure there will be some of the VM. Oh, good, all of them are actually in this top state. That's a good one. So you can select any of them. You can see a lot of the resources in there where they are deployed in the East US. So in one of the data center of East US, this machine has been deployed, right? It is having some public IP address which is right now not enabled because it is kind of the dynamic one, not the static one, right? So this is your portal. You can create a resource, and these are not the only resource. There will be the web app. I have, as I was showing you, that one of the security SIMs tool I have deployed here, Microsoft Sentinel, right? So I'm just play around with it. It is receiving the signals from the different places. Is there any threat? If there will be threat or incident, it will be giving me the idea. It will be popping up me the alerts and everything. And this actually, I think I have created it earlier in one of my sessions. So yeah, it is for that one, right? Uh-huh. Still, I think. Oh, no, no, no. Still, it is there. Okay, so I have created one machine learning environment as well, and that is again, to work with the my whole Sentinel itself, for advanced threat hunting, right? So for that, I have created machine learning environment as well. So as you can see, you can play around, go around, deploy resources. It is always useful in here, right? So this is the portal, how Azure portal look like. So as I was saying, when I summarize the whole how to start your career in the Azure, I was telling you, fundamentals are going to be the first thing that you will be trying to go ahead and capture, right? So fundamental is a need, guys, right? So when we are talking about the Azure portal, or any cloud, you want to start your career in cloud in AWS as well, go for the fundamentals first. You need to have the clear idea on the fundamental, that what is the fundamental. Like in Azure, AZ 900 is the fundamental course. If you have that kind of the certificate, it is a kind of a proof that yes, you know about the Azure, you have the idea what services are there. So this is something that you should be familiar with. Okay, now that path we have already discussed, what you can do, what you can select, and all that kind of things. Okay, now what I'm going to do, if you remember, I was telling you that in the end, because I have to give you some of the time to ask questions as well. So in the end, I wanted to discuss one thing, right? That there is a new course that is launched by the your EC Council, that is the CCSE. Will it be helpful in your cloud career, right? So yes, know how useful it is. So I'm going to talk about this because if anyone would be interested, you can enroll yourself. We will be having a batch starting around 13th or 14th of the March itself, right? So what is this one? So if any guy who is sitting here who has the good amount of idea regarding the security, if you are a person who have the idea in the security, you have clear idea in the security, and it's basic, what is the forensics, what is the GRCs, why GRC required, what is incident response, what is pen testing, and all that kind of thing. With that, if you are familiar with the any kind of the cloud basic or cloud fundamental, either it is AWS, it is GCP, and it is your Azure. So this is a course which is launched by the your EC Council, okay, which is they are calling it the CCSE, which is the program for the people who are interested in the cloud security. So if you want to make your career in the cloud security and you have just the basic idea, right? And this course at the same time, it is cloud, vendor neutral as well and vendor specific as well. Okay, so it is the blend of both vendor neutral and the vendor specific, which makes it unique. So here in this whole course, this will be very specifically about the cloud and the cloud security. So it will be helping you to get the skills, the idea that will be giving you, very first line of defense in the cloud, how to protect your cloud infrastructure. And this is a course which is a, kind of hands-on course designed by the different security professional coming together, how you will be designing and what is the governance, risk and compliance framework in the cloud, how to work with that. So all these things will be discussed over here in the different scenarios, right, with the different lab materials and everything, right? So this will be giving you the bit of the hands-on practice. So here, if you, let's say that in your mind you are not pretty much confident that after the AZ 900 should I directly jump for the AZ 500. So in between, what you can do, you can, and you have the bit of the experience as a manager level, that what is the cloud, what is the security, and you just want to get a better idea that how you'll be implementing cloud security. So this EC Council CCSE is a good start. Now I personally, this is launched last month, okay, not the last month, in the Jan by the EC Council. So I personally love this course, right? It is having a good concepts over there, right? So it will be a 40-hour course, and its aim is to create a secure infrastructure in AWS, Azure, and GCP cloud, and making this this certification. This is something that makes this certification unique from other cloud certificate program that is available in the market. So every time either you will be jumping into the specific for the AWS or Azure, so it will be giving you the whole vendor neutral kind of the idea that what things should be there, Once it will discuss that, then it will be discussing how you can implement some of these concept in the AWS, GCP, and Azure all, right? So this is personally I like this one. So if you are thinking to make your career or start your career in the security, cloud security, after the fundamentals, you can jump into this course. Okay, so this will be talking about all the things. So let me just tell you a bit of the prerequisite of this course. Okay, that is going to be that you should be having bit of the working knowledge of the network security, basic understanding of the your computing concept. And if you want to do the some of the demonstration, it is preferred that you have some account on the AWS, Azure, and the GCP to do the lab, right? To perform the lab things, you need to have these accounts. So this is a kind of the prerequisite over there. Or if you want to spend bit more money, you can ask for the cloud-based lab as well, which is coming with the name CyberQ in the EC Council. So I will be just showing you the some of the modules that is going to be in there in the cloud. Your CCSE, there is going to be the introduction to the cloud security, where we'll be talking about what is the cloud security, what are the risk over there, what is the risk in the shared responsibility modules or model in the different cloud platform, right? That all we'll talking about. Then we will be talking about the platform and the infrastructure security in the cloud. So how to secure the keys, how to design a secure data center, risk associated with that, and all that kind of things. Then we will be talking about the application security in cloud and the different copyrights that we can face. Okay, so how to develop the secure software development lifecycle, understanding DevOps, CI/CD, discussing the cloud application security control, all these kind of things. We'll be then talking about the application security, how application security is applied into the your your GCP, AWS, and all. Then we will talk about the data security in the cloud, right? Then we will be talking about the data security in the different data security, then security operations in the cloud. We will be talking about the pen testing in cloud, then incident response in cloud, forensic investigation in cloud, and even business continuity and the disaster recovery in cloud. So, after this, there will be GRC, governance, risk management, and compliance in the cloud, and then standard policy and the legal issues in the cloud. So if you guys have the idea or the experience in the your cloud security, you will be familiar that these are the some concept we talk. What is the incident response team? What is the forensic? What is these things? So combining those security concept with the cloud will be the part where you can combine in the or learn where you what you'll be learning in this CCSE course. So it will be a great place if you want to start your Azure, or not only Azure, any cloud security career. So as I was saying, we have already talked about the Azure path. So if you want to just see more from a neutral perspective, or want to gain some insight for the AWS and GCP as well, this will be a good place. This CCSE course that I am talking about. And once you complete this CCSE, what you can do, then you can do the AWS Security Associate or Solution Expert level. You can work with the AZ 500 or GCP security courses, very specifically into that, because then you will be having a clear idea that what is the security requirement of the organizations, right? What parameters we should check. And once you have that idea, it will be a good start, right? So it will be just increasing better chances, or it will be making you sure that making or giving you the good hope for your cloud-based career, a mark that yes, you have the idea regarding the cloud and cloud security. And remember I was talking about that cyber q environment lab. So if you don't have the account for the AWS, Azure, and GCP, you can use these ones. This CyberQ Lab. This is a paid extra. You have to pay for this bit extra, and you can get the access of the cloud-based lab, where you don't need to purchase separate subscription for Azure, AWS, and GCP. All of that will be provided over here, and you can use it, right? So this is there. Okay, so with this whole thing, we will be ending today's webinar where we were talking about the how to start your career with the your cloud, and this was very specifically focused on the Azure. So if you remember, I created this kind of a mess in the beginning where we were talking about the different certification. Then we talk about the different kind of the certification, different level, like what is the fundamental level, associate levels, and then the expert level of the certificate, and even some specialty certification as well we have discussed. And I have talked about that how you can start your career with the Azure. Again, I will be emphasizing that start with the fundamentals and then jump into the 104, which will be the administration based, and then you can move into the specific security level or solution architect level in the expert level if you want to move, right? So remember, you need to have to start with the pretty basic, which will be easy 900 and the 104 and the 500. If you're doing these three, you are, at a very good space itself. And if you have that good amount of experience behind you, you can go for solution architect, and even CCSE will be a good place as well to start.